All right, Charlie Vann here with UFC flyweight Jimmy Flick. Welcome back to the podcast. How are you, man? And Happy New Year.
Hey, man, thanks for having me on, man. Happy New Year, and I'm doing great, man. We ended the year the way we wanted, and it couldn't went any better.
Well, another highlight reel finish for you. That's your fourth submission victory in the year of 2020. You started off with a submission victory, and actually, right before this past fight, two back-to-back arm triangle submissions, and then you end the year with a flying triangle. How long have you been practicing on that? Was that kind of what you predicted that the fight with Durden would end?
No, I don't think anybody could have predicted it was going to end that way. Me, I did predict I would submit him or finish him. That's what I always predict is a finish. And but I've done it my career. I've thrown a head kick a lot, and when people grab it, I throw a flying triangle, and I do it a grappling scenario where I put my leg up and I throw a flying triangle. It's just crazy it happened that way, and I'm glad it did. So, but we worked on that switch kick a lot, and we wanted to land that a lot, and that just turned into the flying triangle, so it was perfect.
Was there anything that you saw on past tape on him that you thought maybe he would be a little susceptible to a submission or maybe even the flying triangle?
Oh no, never. Not much really. Besides that switch kick, we wanted to use that a lot to try to keep him from throwing that heavy right hand, and also he kind of drops it a little bit, and that's why when the switch kick did land, he grabbed my leg, and when he grabbed my leg, I just threw the flying triangle. It just came natural, and I'm glad it did. So it worked out great.
I want to break down that technique real quickly. I love breaking down technique. Of course, you broke down on the podcast your arm triangle from LFA. Just like where's the setup there? Where do you have to find that patience in executing that move?
I lost you there for a second.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you'll have to say that again.
So just breaking down that technique again. Where, in your advice to like setting that up, I mean, how to execute what you just did perfectly?
Well, as you can see, when he did grab the leg kick, when anybody comes underneath on the kick, it kind of opens up the flying triangle. But you can see I grabbed the back of his head, and when I jumped, I had the back of his head to kind of help from me getting slammed. And when I fall back, it kind of helps cushion me from banging my head off the mat. You never want to go with your head backwards. You want it up. That's why I grabbed the back of his head and pulled it down and jumped for the flying triangle. And once I hit the ground, I switched and grabbed my shin and pulled his elbow across just like Michael Bisping said I needed to do. And then I hooked that leg to secure it all the way down and keep him from slamming me, and we finished the triangle.
Now, I mean, you seem so composed during it too. You didn't lose any composure. You look confident in that transition. I mean, how much of that too is you've been going over it so many times as well. How many times have you hit that in practice just for fun?
I'd say a few times, at least more than 10 in my whole career. I even hit it as an amateur once. I threw up a head kick himself in a triangle, and I tapped him out in 35 seconds.
I feel like we don't see it as often, flying triangles. Is that just once again confidence with the maneuver, just the right timing, right opening?
Yeah, it's a hard thing to just, it's not something you just go out there and do, especially in an MMA fight. And like I said, if you try to jump up to hit a flying triangle and somebody's aware of it, they could slam you. You can land on your head. Like, I was never thinking flying triangle. It just came natural to me when he caught the head kick. Because most likely he was going to kick out that leg and try to slam me anyway, or let go of the leg. So I grabbed his head and threw the flying triangle. And it's not something that you can just, go into a fight and plan on doing.
Well, the triangle definitely has seemed to be your go-to move. I mean, we hear the Von Fluke choke, the OSP choke. Maybe we dub the triangle in your honor, especially the arm triangle, but the flying triangle. And I think also too, like you got a new. I'm giving you a second nickname. So you're the brick. I'm also going to give you a second nickname of Slick Jimmy Flick because all these transitions are very slick.
Yeah.
Now, just talking about the UFC flyweight division, because it's a very exciting time. Of course, you just made your official debut last month. What do you think about the division? What do you think about, even the title holder and Davison Figueroa? I mean, what an exciting way to end the year, with that championship bout with Brandon Moreno.
Yeah, I'm excited about the flyweight division, and I'm excited on the way that I entered the flyweight division. And me being the only flyweight fight on the last card of the year and getting that bonus, it really says a lot. And the week before that, the flyweights put on a fight and they got the bonus. So that's back-to-back fight cards that flyweights got the bonus. So it looks great on us flyweights. We got a lot of good fighters now at the flyweight division. A lot of them making noise, and I'm one of them. And like I said, I'm chasing somebody in the top 15 if possible, and we're hoping to fight in March or April. So
about March and April.
That's what I'm hoping, but I don't make the rules, So we have to see what the UFC says. But realistically, that's something I would like. Give me another training camp and get ready for another big fight. So we'll see what happens. And yeah, the flyweight division's getting better, and I'm glad that it's opened back up because that's where I belong.
Anybody in particular on your radar, or you're just open to whoever?
Yeah, I mean, I'm open to whoever. If the UFC doesn't even give me anybody in the top 15, that's okay, But that's just what I'm going to ask for. But yeah, it doesn't matter who it is. I mean, I'm ready to fight the best. I'm 16-5, and I've been fighting but the best. My opponent's combined record is insane. It's like 160 something and 70 losses. It's pretty crazy. So I've always been fighting the best, and now I just get to do it on the big stage.
Well, and you might have seen this. I saw a couple weeks ago on maybe right after your win on social media, someone said, "Ooh, a good matchup would be Jimmy Flick versus Tim Elliott at some point." I mean, what do you think about that? Fighting the former flyweight contender.
Oh, I love it, man. And somebody's already tagged us on Twitter, and Tim Elliott said he was down as well. So I would love that matchup, especially since he's been there in the UFC so long. I'd also like to fight Brandon Royval in the future, and possibly Jordan Espinoza, but he's actually supposed to be fighting Tim Elliott. Jordan Espinoza is. So, I mean, I got them all on my radar. I just want anybody in the flyweight division. So,
well, Brandon Royval, that's a really both of you guys, former LFA flyweight champions. So that would be a cool, full circle right there. And both of you slick as well. So that would be interesting. I mean, the division's so exciting right now, and really looking forward to seeing what is next. And what do you think also? I want to get your thoughts on at the end of this month. We're going to see Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier. What's your pick, prediction? How do you think it's going down?
Man, I don't know, man. That's a tough one, man, because we didn't really get to see much with Conor in the last fight when he fought Cowboy. It happened so quick. And Dustin Poirier has looked so good. I mean, I want Poirier to win. I like Poirier. But if Conor wins, it opens up bigger fights. So I'm going to say Poirier, if he overwhelms the Storm and push it to the 4th or 5th round, and Big Poirier can get the TKO in the 4th or 5th.
Do you think Poirier, well, both guys obviously not dropping down. Last time they fought was 145, but being at 155, do you think that's going to give Poirier at all advantage? I mean, I know Conor was the former lightweight champion, but Poirier looks pretty big at lightweight.
Yeah, I think it helps a lot with this cardio and the power, but Conor's been fighting at 70 as well, and he's big, so he's going to be big at 55, but it's going to be a 5-round fight, and I think that works out in Poirier's favor. I think Conor's going to come out aggressive like he always does, and if Poirier can push the pace and take more shots this time and, kind of do what he did against the Justin Gaethje fight, I think he can break him down and, use his kicks and his punches and, finish the fight later in the rounds.
Well, it will be intriguing, especially for Conor, no fans. Usually Conor has tons, there's usually sold out arenas. He has a lot of fans traveling over from Ireland. So this will be intriguing. It is in Abu Dhabi, or on Fight Island, I'm sorry. And this will be intriguing just to see how he reacts with that fanfare.
Yeah, that's very true, man. You never know. I mean, it hasn't affected me, but I've never fought in front of 40,000 people either, like Conor, felt that excitement. So, but it affects everybody different. And, Abu Dhabi, the time change is different too. So you don't know who it's going to affect more.
Well, another fight on that card that just got announced, Michael Chandler versus Dan Hooker. That's an exciting matchup as well.
Yeah, I think that's a great matchup, man. It's a tough fight for Michael Chandler right off the bat, and it's a good one for Hooker to get right back into it, man. So, I think Chandler can win that fight, though. I don't know if he'll finish him or if he'll use his wrestling and grind him out, but I think Chandler can win that fight.
Do you kind of see a little lightweight tournament going on now? Because we have Conor and Dustin. They haven't said really yet that the winner will. We don't know yet with Khabib. What's going to go on with the lightweight title, but you can only maybe assume that the winner of this fight is either, if he decides to return, or they're going to crown the winner of this fight the new lightweight champion if he decides to vacate between now and then. And then, of course, you have Chandler coming in, who was an alternate behind Gaethje and Khabib. So do you see a little tournament going on here?
Yeah, kind of, besides Charles Oliveira.
Charles Oliveira.
They wanted Tony up there, so now Charles is up there too. So it's like, how do you pass that guy up? He's been killing it, So then if Chandler comes in and wins, you got Chandler, you got Oliveira, you got the winner of Poirier and them, you got Justin Gaethje. Like, yeah. I mean, looks like they need to do a tournament. If Khabib's not coming back, they need to do a tournament.
What did you think about that armbar, Charles Oliveira, in that first round over Ferguson? What did you think about that? It looked really tight. I mean, it looked like Tony was in a lot of trouble. That arm could have we could have had a Tim Sylvia, Frank Mir situation.
I thought that's was gonna happen, man, dude. That was vicious, dude. I was grimacing and watching it. I was like, oh my God, like he's gonna break it, come on, Tony. Like, it was crazy, man. And then he'd come back and survive 2 more rounds, but he was never the same, man. Never the same, man. That was a tough fight. And that's what he said. Tony don't like fighting without fans. He's the one that, he can't get that excitement like he does with fans and shit, and that's how some fighters are getting.
Do you think that might have been a little bit of his, not taken away from, Oliveira or Gaethje's wins over him, but do you think that played a little bit into why he came up a little bit short in both those fights? He needs that energy just because of how wild he can be? Or do you think it's also maybe it's just, stylistically, when you look at Charles, long, lanky, his transitions are really good as well.
Yeah, exactly. No, I do think it affected him. He's one of the fighters. He's not getting that yaz without the crowd, like he needs that crowd to help, and it's a lot different for fighters, when you're making that walk with a lot of fans and then no fans, period, you know. I mean, shit, when I walked out on the Tuesday Night Contender, they didn't even give us walkout music. That was the weirdest thing ever, man. Like, just walking out to dead silence. That was it, you know. So every fighter's different, man. So, but I think if fans were back, Tony would be fighting a lot different.
You know, you mentioned that. That is a very intriguing thing because even like on the Ultimate Fighter, they don't walk out to music. Although Darren Till this past July chose not to walk out to Sweet Caroline as he has because he says it's for the fans. So he walked out to no music. I don't know if you ever saw that movie Warrior with Tom Hardy, but he walks out to no music. Remind me of that. I mean, going back to that, just walking out, I mean, of course you're focused, but are you thinking of anything in your mind just to kind of like, there's no music here?
No, I was just thinking about the fight, man, what I was there to do, and that was to get the win. You know, I was just determined to get in that cage and do work.
Well, going back to after this fight, I know on the last podcast, we just talk about what you like to enjoy doing post-fight, eating, celebration. How did you celebrate that win after December 19th? And overall, how was your holiday?
After this win, my wife actually surprised me and came into Las Vegas, and we were able to go out in Las Vegas that night. My cornerman was with me. His wife came into town as well, and my coach. So we went down to Las Vegas, got a hotel downtown, and went out for Vegas. Ate a lot of pizza, man. It was, and then later that night, pepperoni, yeah, for sure, always pepperoni. They got something else. We had some barbecue wings. We had some beer. I drank some pop for the first time in over a year. Yeah, so it was a pretty good celebration. And then flew back home, seen my girls, you know, spoiled them for Christmas, and had a good New Year's. Was able to actually go out and enjoy New Year's with my wife. We had a great time. So, I mean, nothing I can complain about, man. And just back at work and back to training, and then we'll see what happens for 2021.
I was going to say, any Christmas holiday traditions you and your family do? Are you a holiday movie guy?
No traditions really, besides, I mean, on Christmas Eve, we all open up a present, and it's the same pajamas, plaid pajamas. My wife, my little girls had theirs, and me and my wife had ours on, and that's what we do every Christmas. And my little girls love to watch all the movies, mainly cartoon Christmas movies. So that's what we do on Christmas mainly, and then I try to squeeze in some football when I can.
Oh yeah, you got to add in some sports, you know, just a little bit. I'll tell you what, I do get excited now that in my 30s over clothes. I don't used to growing up, I was like, oh, no clothes. But now I'm like, you know what? Because I don't really shop that much. So a new shirt or maybe new pajamas, not always bad. Unless you get that bunny pajamas from A Christmas Story, that may be a different story. Well, Jimmy, I want to thank you for taking your time here. Best of luck, and hopefully soon you'll get a matchup, and we'll see you back in the octagon. Congrats again over that submission victory back last month. And real quick, anything coming up for you outside of fighting? Any other projects? And also, where can people find you?
Hey man, thanks for having me back on. I always appreciate the support. Not just working on my wife's building. She's a nail technician, so working on trying to get her building open up. We're working on it last weekend. Her dad's over there working on it right now. I'll be working on it this weekend. I'm going to try to get that up and going for her, and, you know, and then get back to fighting soon. And that's all I'm worried about. We'll see what happens from there.